Hello everyone and welcome back to another video brought to you by the Freedom Eagle. Political news and commentary with a conservative lean. Well, America's favorite attorney is back again. If you thought the Trump legal team had an explosive press conference a few days ago, attorney Sidney Powell returned Saturday night, November 21st on Newsmax.
And when you lay all this out, and you're going to do this in court, do you have what you think is irrefutable evidence that will make up the minds of millions of American people?
Well, the burden of proof in court is only a preponderance of the evidence. Mm-hmm. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the criminal standard. But frankly, with everything we've got, these should be criminal prosecutions at a significant level for fraud and conspiracy to defraud provable beyond a reasonable doubt. There are hundreds of thousands of people in our criminal system right now in prison who were convicted on far less evidence of guilt than we have here.
Joining Newsmax via phone interview, Powell essentially reiterated her position on the entire situation regarding the 2020 presidential election, while saying that a soon-to-be-filed legal action in the state of Georgia will be, quote, biblical. It will be biblical, said Powell. Powell also notes that the alleged fraud is so widespread that she can't unsee it.
So we have got to get this fixed now. I can't unsee it. I'll tell you that. I certainly cannot unsee what I have seen. And I'm going to make sure everybody else knows everything I've seen too, because we've got to hold our government institutions accountable and do better than this by each other. And it does cut across both political parties. It cuts across generations now, or at least multiple decades of this kind of corruption. It's got increasingly more sophisticated.
Has anybody given you
just smudge the edge of a ballot and stick it through the machine, and the ballot would be rejected? But now they can literally drag and drop hundreds of thousands of votes wherever they want them.
As of now, I find myself in the same camp as a lot of people regarding Powell and her claims. She's either a huge liar that, for whatever the reasons, has decided to flush her entire career and credibility down the toilet for a few weeks of fame, or Powell is an American hero and will soon be remembered for ripping the lid off arguably the biggest scandal in American history, political or otherwise. While her claims at the most extreme extent do seem a bit outrageous even to the most objective person, one has to ask the obvious question, and it is a question that many have been asking, most notably on social media. While Powell's claims seem like something you'd read in a best-selling crime novel, why would someone with over 40 years of legal background, with a successful career and sound reputation, simply risk it all, both personally and professionally, if her claims weren't true? It seems to go against every logical means to essentially just throw your life away on a lie. We've all seen folks who've tossed their life away by means of bad decisions. It happens often in the field of entertainment and athletics. People who just can't seem to get out of their own way. However, do those people mean to throw it all away? Do they mean to ruin their personal and professional life and resign themselves to being viewed as irredeemable examples of what not to do in life? Surely not. In the case of Sidney Powell, if she is lying, then that could imply that she set her own trap and decided that having a career was no longer worth it. Not only did she die on Trump's election hill, but she molded the hill herself. When you digest it all, as sensational as some of her claims seem, you just can't help but think she's telling the truth, or at least she thinks she's telling the truth. Otherwise, she's doing all of this to end her own livelihood, potentially. Powell is either a joke or she's an American hero. It's fair to say, and certainly from the court of public opinion, many feel at this point there really isn't a third option. The bed has been made. I guess that means we're just all spectators in the arena. She'll either sink the half-court shot at the buzzer, or she'll come up woefully short in the process of getting booed out of the arena while subjecting everyone who believed in her to also get booed at every turn. If there's a story within the story of Trump's legal fight, it is the story of Powell herself. I'm anxious to see how history treats her, regardless of how all of this turns out. Let's take a look at one final clip. Here Powell talks about the broad reach of the situation and how many people would have had to be in the know in order to pull off what amounts to the biggest political scandal of all time, if Powell's words prove to be undeniably true.
I mean, how big of a, if this happened, how big of a conspiracy, how many people would have had to have been in on something like this?
Oh, gosh, probably thousands, including the people running the machines at each of the polling centers. We know, for example, that one of the higher-ups of Dominion went to Detroit the night of the election to handle things himself. And we also have evidence that there were any number of VPN lines open to the internet for foreign actors to be meddling in it.
Has anybody given you an explanation that as to why they had to turn the machines off? You talk about how the machines got turned off,
yes,
and then there was a vote dump.
Our witness from Venezuela, who saw it all created and how it worked, said that he knew as soon as the machines were turned off in those key states, it was because we, the people, in voting for Trump in a landslide election, had essentially broken the algorithm that had been pre-programmed into the machine. So they had to stop counting in those states and areas and backfill the vote with fraudulent mail-in ballots or whatever means they used to do it, whether they just injected numbers or trashed votes for Trump otherwise and changed the numbers. I don't know exactly how they did it right now in each spot, but that's essentially the way it worked.
If you would like to hear Sidney Powell on Newsmax, the full phone interview, I've provided the link in the description box below. If you enjoyed this content and have a strong opinion concerning Sidney Powell and her allegations, please drop me a line in the comments section below. Also, like, share, and subscribe if you would be so kind. And until next time, we will talk to you later.